take this veil
that's
from
nice.
off my eyes. My burning sun will someday rise.
That's a lovely line. I take this veil off my eyes, and my burning sun will someday rise. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audiophiles, you bugger! My name's John, his name is Andy. She had hair like Jeannie Shrimpton back in 1965. She had legs that never ended. I was halfway paralysed. More on that later. But first we have a track to listen to. Brother Andy, what have you got in your bag today?
Well, we were getting to a band that I recently asked you about if you were familiar with them, and you said that you'd heard of them, but you had not really heard any of their music, which was like, whoa, to me. This band was a huge part of my like teenage years. I really, really loved them. I still go back and listen to them, but it's more now from nostalgia than it is I relate to necessarily all the subject matter in their songs. But they're definitely a really, really talented band from out west. So the band that I want you to check out is called Sublime. And the track by them, oh, go ahead, you little finger wag there. It looked like you had something on your mind.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it is. I'm just looking at my I remember the name of the album now. Oh, is it Saturday morning cartoon greats?
Yeah,
Yeah, they
of all the
Sublime,
tracks.
Hong Kong Fooey. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Of all the tracks you have by them, that's hilarious. Okay, great. Well, then you have some idea of their sound, although you'd be surprised to hear that most of their stuff doesn't sound like remakes of Saturday morning cartoons. This track is called Doin' Time. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. So please go give it a spin and come back and let us all know what you've made of it.
Summertime and the living's easy. Brothers on the microphone with Ross MG. All the people in the dance will agree that we're well qualified to represent the LBC. Me and Louis and Young run to the body and dance to the rhythm. It gets harder. Me and my girl, we got this relationship.
Okay, yeah. Loving it immediately. So yeah, it's this beautiful sort of Lucy jazzy kind of start. And then we get the sort of the quote, summertime and living is easy. Gershwin's finest. And then rap comes in. I'm guessing it's vibraphone. Had a lovely tone to it. It has this sort of dreamy, hazy quality that spreads all over the track. I think there was a touch of flute in there as well, giving this sort of like skittish airiness to it as well. It just sounds great, and the beats in there, this sounds old school, right up my street. Loving it. Let's go back to the start of this verse.
Me and my girl, we got this relationship. I love her so bad, but she treats me like a on lockdown like a penitentiary. She spreads her loving all over, and when she gets home, there's none left for me.
Synopsis. We've got exposition here. He's in a relationship with a girl, but it's not great. Feels like he's in lockdown in penitentiary. And she spreads her loving all over. And when she gets home, there's nothing left for him. A classic tale as old as the hills. Just about every blues song as well. Yeah, great stuff.
Summertime, the living's easy. Riley's on the microphone with Ross MG. All the people in the dance will agree that we're well qualified to represent the LBC. Me and Louis, we gon' run to the party, dance till the rhythm it gets harder.
So I think they're name checking themselves there, which is always important in a hip hop song. It's about representing the LBC. It's all about where you're from. I think it's Long Beach. Yeah, I'm sure I've heard that before. Nice bit of scratching going on as well. Yeah, it's just got such a lovely vibe to it.
Oh, take this veil
That's
from
nice.
off my eyes. My burning sun will someday rise.
That's a lovely line. I take this veil off my eyes, and my burning sun will someday rise. Yeah, it's almost like this veil from his eyes about his girl. Makes me think of the Dance of the Seven Veils as well, Temptation. And burning sun's a great sort of image of boiling or rising anger. That's really nice. It appears from this verse that they're doing that old school, different voices for each verse, and each one has a slightly different style. This is really reminding me of a first iteration Far Side. Perhaps less jokey than their first album, maybe more their second album, but yeah, it's got that same wonderful vibe to it.
So what am I gonna be doing for a while? Said I'm gonna play with myself. Show them now we've come off the shelf. So what? Summertime, the living's easy. Riley's on the microphone.
Such a
with Ross
catchy
MG.
chorus.
All the people in the dance will agree that we're well qualified to represent the LBC. Me and Louis run to the party and dance to the rhythm. It gets evil. I've come to tell you that she's evil. Most definitely evil. Ornery, scandalous, and evil. Most definitely the tension.
Love his voice as well. And you don't get the word ornery very often, especially in hip hop. It's great, absolutely great.
It's getting harder. I'd like to hold her head underwater. Oh, me and my girl, we got a relationship. Me and my girl, we got a relationship. My girl.
Thinking this is the bridge bit here. Sorry I keep interrupting, but I'm just really enjoying it. This bit here with the sort of clipped guitar, slightly funky, and me and my girl, we got a relationship. This sounds kind of like Bill Withers almost. Really nice.
Got a relationship, oh, and my girl. Got a take a tip from me. Riley's on the microphone with Ross MG. All the people in the dance will agree that we're well qualified to represent the LBC. Me, la la Louis, while everybody right into the rhythm. It gets Summertime, the living's easy.
Absolutely love that. It's great. It makes me want to go and devour more of their stuff, and I don't know why I've not heard this before. Um, yeah, it's fantastic. I think there's a lot more to it than what I heard on the first listen. There was some sample vocals going on, other bits and pieces, but just the immediacy of what I got from it was just beautiful, wonderful vibe. Paints this picture, and what I like about it is it kind of gives you a cross section of this scenario. And it's not there's no resolution where this is what's going on. Can you relate? And I think most people can. But it puts. I mean, I'm getting lots of sort of like you know Spike Lee images of neighborhoods in New York or whatever. Um, by the power. Yeah, it's just wonderful. Really, really evocative piece. Um, Fantastic. Yeah, loved it to bits. Need to find out more. Let's go back and chop it up with Andy.
All right, John. So you have returned from the shores of Long Beach. Was your experience sublime, or did it feel like you were doing time?
So that's confirmation of one thing. So yeah, it starts with the sample of Summertime. I think one of the greatest songs of all time by George and Ira, and they've done some goodies. Yeah, it is a real favourite of mine, that song actually. Summertime, The Living's Easy.
Yeah.
Off it starts. The vibraphone, I think it's a vibraphone in this because it has that sort of echoey quality. Has a lovely tone that kind of spreads this dreamy, hazy atmosphere across the track. Roy Ayers does it with his vibraphone as well. There's this lovely sort of quality to it. We get an opening verse. It talks about this girl who treats the protagonist so bad. It feels like he's locked down in a penitentiary. And I'm not even exaggerating, man. It's hilarious. There's a line, she spreads her loving all over, and when she gets home, there's none left for me. It's just a classic. And you just revert back to 50s blues, 40s
Yeah.
blues.
Yeah, it's a
Exactly
blues
the
line
same.
through and through.
Yeah, yeah. Sadie Mae. Yeah, great stuff. We go into the chorus, and there's this lovely blend of the hip hop beats. There's some
Yeah.
scratching as well. You got the vibes, and then along this flute that does this is so light, and it's floating like Ali's butterfly. Beautiful. The lyrics are not so hot on the chorus. It's really catchy, the chorus, but I know it isn't catching at all. But they're definitely name checking, which is always important with the band. You've got to repeat who you are many, many times over. And also qualify that you represent the LBC, which I believe is Long Beach,
Yes.
California. I've heard that a few times in other songs. It's always about who you are and where you're from.
Yeah, of
Represent.
course.
So, yeah, that's what you don't get that in the sort of British hip hop.
Yeah.
It's Stanley from Newport Pagnell, it's not really the same. Anyway, the next verse drops down to this really sort of fat beat, old school, lovely. And I'm starting to get this has got real similarities to like first iteration Far Side.
Yeah, yeah.
That same relaxed musicality, it's playful, skittish, sometimes a bit sort of loungy, sometimes a bit jazzy, but they also have the old school stuff in there. And you have the very playful, multi-voiced raps. That then stray into serious stuff briefly and then out again. I love the line at the start of this verse. Take the veil from my eyes, my burning sun will someday rise. Um, Obviously the veil is, seeing her for real, but it could also remind me of like the Dance of the Seven Veils and this sort of temptation and this very feminine thing about the veils and also this burning sun rising just made me think of Inertia Rising, Massive Attack as well.
Mm.
Um, yeah, really, really cool stuff. And it's this boiling rage that's coming up. Yeah, excuse me. Each verse has a different voice, I believe, which has a slight shift in style to match, again, like other bands, Farside in particular. And I'm loving it. This next verse after the chorus, the line, evil, hornery, scandalous, and evil, most definitely. And I absolutely love his delivery here. He's almost doing a sort of lounge singer, Rat Pack style singing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
Farside do sometimes as well. Really, really, really cool. We then break into a bridge, which actually works.
Holy shit.
They have this clipped, groovy guitar, and it really reminded me of Bill Withers. Um, really, really nice. And the affirmation they do, in fact, have a relationship, but it's left as that, unqualified in the quality of their association. Um, and then just as they're starting to exit from this back into the chorus, there's a beautiful bass cameo that comes in and draws you into the chorus once more. Lovely.
Yeah.
And then we can circle through the chorus, and then on the outro we get a barking dog, which is like another reference to the Kiora advert, which I mentioned before in a slow fade. And because of that, I thought I had to dig this out. I don't know if I showed you this bit before, but I managed to get this on 12-inch. Look it up on YouTube sometime. Fedora, I'll be your dog. Mo, 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 I'll be your dog. Yeah, it was withdrawn because of racial stereotypes in the
Oh, yes. I see. That's problematic.
and that was the I mean the crows, who are the sort of funky ones, are all sort of, that's kind of fine. It's almost Jungle Bookish, or
Yeah.
gangster, but yeah, the rest of it not good. Anyway, back to the reality. I love this. It conjured up a complete atmosphere, and it was like a slice or a cross section of the situation without any resolution. It's just, this is what it's like, and can you relate to this? Which most of us can,
Sure.
And it also conjured up this scene in my head of, like, Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing, that sort of neighborhood. It's hot, summer, kids are out arsing around with the fire hydrants, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it just made me think of that straight away. And it also made me really want to check out Sublime. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this a lot.
Awesome. Well, went over with you better than I even thought it would, and I thought you would dig this track specifically too. It's probably my favorite Sublime track. There's a lot of them out there, to be honest with you. Like I said, there's a bit of a, these guys are a little rough around the, some of their, you're either getting alcohol or street life or weed as a lot of the themes in some of their music, which, I mean, it goes hand in hand with some of the hip hop themes that you've picked up musically as well. But they do talk about relationships and other stuff like that. But I'm glad you liked it nonetheless. Go on.
What year is this?
This is, God, 94 or
All right,
no,
yeah.
probably 96 actually.
Really?
They were around from before that. They formed in the late 80s. But yeah,
if I was going to pick a year, I'd say like 93 or something like that. But,
yeah, exactly.
Right. But the content of all those, there's only a few that, I mean, you have the bravado of Beastie Boys, who then did other stuff as well. But it was only someone like De La Soul that really had a bit more of an intellect.
Exactly. There's not a lot of the especially because, like, especially out there, this is when gangster rap was coming into the picture. So it was a lot talking about, like, drinking on 40s and, recycling women and smoking weed and all that stuff.
Chin check and all that, yeah.
But you're right. Like, the backpack rap, the intellectual rap wasn't really, selling moving units like the more street stuff was. But I like both of it. So, both variations of hip hop, and I guess it makes sense that I would like it in my whatever you want to label this, which we'll get into as we discuss it. So Sublime, yeah, they are an American ska punk band from Long Beach, California. No surprise there at this point. Founded in 1988, the band's original lineup consisted of Bradley Knoll, vocals and guitar, Eric Wilson on bass, and Bud Goff on drums. Lou Dog, Knoll's Dalmatian, was the mascot of the band. So you'll often hear him alluded to and sometimes even captured in the track, like you heard there towards the end. So Sublime released 3 studio albums, 1 live album, 5 compilation album, 3 EPs, and 1 box set. Although their first 2 albums, 40 Ounces to Freedom in 1992 and Robin the Hood in 1994, were slightly popular in the United States, Sublime did not experience major commercial success until 1996, with their self-titled third album, on which this track features. Eric Wilson and Bud Goff were childhood friends, having grown up in the same Long Beach neighborhood. Eric's father, Billy Wilson, taught Goff how to read music and play the drums. Goff and Wilson, together with future Sublime manager Michael Happold, formed a three-piece punk band called the Juice Bros during their high school years. About this time, Bradley Knoll had recently dropped out of the University of California, Santa Cruz and joined the band. Knoll helped introduce Goff and Wilson, who at the time listened exclusively to punk rock, to reggae and ska. Sublime played its first gig on the 4th of July 1988 on the Long Beach Peninsula in Belmont Shore. Music venues were skeptical of the band's eclectic musical fusion, and many refused to book the band. In response, the band created their own music label, Skunk Records, and then told the venues they were Skunk Record recording artists, which helped the band seem more accomplished and subsequently book more shows. That's pretty savvy. I mean,
No, it's yeah.
yeah. Might be a college dropout, but they got street smarts, that's for sure. For the next several years, the group focused primarily on playing at parties, small clubs throughout Southern California with local ska bands such as Smokestacks, No Doubt, and Skeletones. The trio recorded a few songs and put forth a number of short demos. In February of 1990, Knoll adopted an abused Dalmatian puppy from a shelter and named him Louie after his grandfather. Louie Knoll, King Louie, or Lou Dog as he was called, became something of a mascot for the band. Lou Dog often was allowed to wander around the stage during the band's concert performances. In late 1990, music student Michael Miguel Habolt approached the band offering to let them record in the studio at the school where Habolt was studying. The band enthusiastically agreed and trespassed into the school at night, where they recorded from midnight to 7 in the morning. We've talked about a couple of bands who have somehow had these nice little CD links where they'd go in after hours, drop a bunch of shit, and get out before the bells rang. The recording session resulted in the popular cassette tape called Ja Won't Pay the Bills, which was then released in 1991 and featured songs that would appear on the band's future albums. The tape helped the band gain a grassroots following throughout Southern California. Eventually, Sublime developed a large following in California. After focusing on live shows, the band released 40 Ounces to Freedom in 92 under Knoll's label Skunk Records. The record established Sublime's blend of ska, reggae, punk, surf rock, and hip-hop, and helped to further strengthen the group's growing California following. Initially being sold exclusively at their live shows, the album became widely known in the greater Los Angeles area after famous rock station K-Rock, KROQ, began playing the song Date Rape. Now, don't let the name fool you. It's actually a song about where the asshole who performs the said deed gets his comeuppance in the long run. But yeah, it's a polarizing name. In 1996, 40 Ounces to Freedom had sold more than 209,000 units, beating the future self-titled album's running total of 145,000 unit sales. In June 1994, they were signed to the label Gasoline Alley of MCA Records by John Phillips, who subsequently became Sublime's manager. Sublime released their second album, Robin the Hood, in 1994, an experimental effort with its diffuse mixture of rock, rap, spoken word nonsense, and folk-leaning acoustic home recordings. Robin the Hood was a commercial failure. The band toured extensively throughout 94 and 95, their popularity increasing gradually beyond the West Coast as the aforementioned track Date Rape began earning radio play, which is wild just to think of that with its name. In 1995, the band co-headlined the inaugural nationwide Vans Warped Tour. The band was eventually asked to leave the tour for a week due to unruly behavior of Sublime guests and Lou Dog biting a few different individuals. Golf reflected on the experience. Basically, our daily regimen was wake up, drink more, play, then drink a lot more. We'd call people names. Nobody got our sense of humor. Then we brought the dog out and he bit a few skaters, and that was the last straw. After the Warped Tour and the subsequent Three-Ring Circus Tour, the band was pressured to begin producing new studio material as a follow-up to Robin the Hood. In early 96, Sublime headlined the first Snowcore tour. In February, they began recording what would comprise the band's self-titled third recording and their major label debut album. Shortly after completing the recordings for the album, Bradley Nowell died of a heroin overdose on May 25th, 1996, at a motel in San Francisco, California, the day after their last live show in Petaluma, California, May 24th of 96, and 2 months prior to the release of the self-titled album. So, I mean, yeah, first of all, awful shame that he passed away, but just by the skin of their teeth were they able to complete this record before it was mixed and edited and all that stuff, but after all their parts were done. And then they went on tour, and, Brad's fate would be his fate. He was found dead at 11:30 a.m. in a motel room after a night of partying. He was only 28 years old. Some Sublime fans were not even aware of Noel's death when the self-titled album became a huge success, including the single What I Got, which peaked at #1 on the modern rock chart. So imagine being like a new fan of these guys who had just discovered this album in Pittsburgh or Portsmouth, New Hampshire, or something like that. And you're not from there, and there's no internet, you know what I mean? And you just realized you've fallen in love with a new band, only to realize there will be no. It's just got to be like, heart wrenching at one of those, crossroads. So the album earned the band worldwide fame and was certified 5 times platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America by December of 1999. Peaking at number 13 on the Billboard 200, the album included several other popular posthumous singles, including Santeria, Doin' Time, Wrong Way, and April 29th, 1992, all of which received heavy airplay. Jason Westfall, one of Sublime's managers, was quoted as saying that surviving members of the band would not continue to perform the record under the Sublime name. Just like Nirvana, Sublime died when Brad died. As of 2009, the band has sold over 17 million albums worldwide. And being that was over 15 years ago, I can imagine that number's only gone up, including about 10 million in the US alone. This track, Doin' Time, appeared as the closing track of the album. The lyrics tell of a cheating girlfriend whose infidelities and poor treatment of her lover make him feel like he's in prison. It was released as a single on November 25th, 1997. This disc contained alternative versions of the song by Wyclef Jean and The Pharcyde. Additional versions appeared on the post-Bradley Nowell compilation album, Secondhand Smoke, and several bootlegs, including one with Snoop Dogg. So the track reached number 87 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 28 on the Modern Rock Tracks chart. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
This struck me, and this may be a funny point to raise, but the feeling this guy, the protagonist of the song, gets because of a cheating girlfriend is like being in prison. I think the dynamics of what happens to you in prison are very different to what happens to you with a cheating girlfriend.
Which, spoiler alert, is the end resolution to the song Date Rape. That's what happens to the guy who gets busted. He goes off to jail and he gets by a large inmate, as the lyric goes. So you would think that he'd be cognizant of the difference between jail life and being in a poor relationships, as he cited.
It's a very different relationship, that is.
It is. It is.
That's more probably Amanda Palmer.
Yeah, anyway. exactly. A conversation and a severance of the relationship versus years of holding some dude's pocket. They're very different things. You're absolutely right. So, but nonetheless, it made for good lyrics, I suppose. Yes. Doin' Time, as you mentioned, it samples jazz flautist Herbie Mann's cover of George Gershwin's Summertime from the opera Porgy and Bess. Mann's version is a live bossa nova version from his album Herbie Mann at the Village Gate. The band originally recorded the song with the lyrics Doin' Time and The Livin's Easy. In order to release the song using Gershwin's sample, the band had to agree to use the line Summertime instead of Doin' Time. But the song was already recorded with the Doin' Time lyric, and lead singer Bradley Nowell had recently died of the heroin overdose, so all of this put the band in a bit of a pickle. The lyric was actually re-recorded by Sublime's friend and producer, the aforementioned Michael Habolt, singing "Summertime," and it was this version of the song that appears on Sublime's self-titled album. So they had that was the one bit that they had to do after Brad's passing was tweak that line to appease the estate. Um, so yeah, interesting stuff. The future Long Beach Dub All Stars DJ Marshall Goodman appears on the recording and is mentioned in the lyrics as Roz MG. So you might have heard that and been like, "What the fuck is that about?" It was a reference to a friend of theirs.
Yeah.
This line and we can do it like this in the place to be is sampled from the Beastie Boys' "Slow and Low" from their 1986 album License to Ill. So you alluded to so many of these things earlier. Now we're picking up between Farside, Beastie Boys, Gershwin, all these things are popping up. So you picked up on a lot of these Easter eggs, whether cognizantly or not. You still alluded to the acts, which is really interesting to me. The song also samples Jump for Jaw and Come Now by Ini Kamoze, Buffalo Gals by Malcolm McLaren, and Holy Thursday by David Axelrod.
Right. Okay. So hang on a sec.
Yeah.
So Holy Thursday by David Axelrod is an instrumental which Greg gave me on Into the Music, and I subsequently bought the album. So I have that.
That's
And I've
awesome. I
also
didn't
got-
even realize that.
I've also got the 12-inch of Buffalo Girls and by Malcolm McLaren. I didn't hear that either of those two. I mean, the Axelrod thing's an instrumental, sort of jazzy cityscape type song, so it could be in there in the background. But I
Yeah.
certainly didn't hear any Buffalo Girls go round the outside. Um,
Well, you can't bat 1,000, John. You've picked up on a lot of these, but all the more reason to go back and give this thing another spin.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
there you go.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. In May 7th, 2019, American singer songwriter Lana Del Rey teased a cover of the song and said it was coming soon. Del Rey's cover was officially released on May 17th, 2019, coinciding with the premiere of a documentary about Sublime at the Tribeca Film Festival. It was released as the fourth single from Del Rey's sixth album, Norman fucking Rockwell, and was met with universal critical acclaim, with music critics as well as Sublime's former bandmates and family offering praise for Del Rey's treatment of the song. And it is a beautiful cover. It really is. David Frick of Rolling Stone complimented the band's bright, wired bounce and the shell game shuffle of funk beats, snappy Jamaican rhythms, and mosh pit shouted out choruses in Noel's writing, deeming it the stuff of a band with great promise and the confidence to make good on it, if only that were still possible. R.J. Smith of Spin praised Noel's songwriting craft, writing, "It might seem a daring experiment if it hadn't so effortlessly sprung from a Long Beach surf scene that featured acoustic jams on the beach that naturally flowed from Whalers to Descendants classics." Adding, "Sublime succeeds not just on vibe, but on songcraft." Naseed Hajari of Entertainment Weekly called the album a respectable testament to Noel's memory, ultimately noting that the record coheres more on an intellectual rather than emotional level, its sound too diffuse to be dramatic. Robert Christgau of The Village Voice gave the record an A-, commenting, "Junkies who retain enough soul to create music at all are generally driven to put their brilliance and stupidity in your face. Noel is altogether more loving, unassuming, good-humored, and down-to-earth. Or so he pretends, which when you're good is all it takes." So, these lyrics.
Sorry,
Summer-
Andy, just a sec.
Go ahead.
That Robert Christopher's all right little bitch, isn't he?
Yeah,
Really.
he is. He is. We've quoted him a few times on here.
He's always going to get a dig in, even if
can be
he's
a bit of a... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
he's praising someone, he still has to get a little dig in about them being a junkie bitch.
The
and all
junkie
that.
thing. I know. And Earlwine can be a bit prickly too in some of it. I mean, we've quoted him a lot, but he's also one of those critics where it's like, can you just say something that's like altogether effusive without this backhanded compliment that sneaks its way in there? It's like, what the fuck, man? Especially when the dude's dead. Like, come on. He just, if he was a junkie that was still alive and you want to take your swipe, whatever, gloves off, I guess, but a little decorum would be decent, you know what I mean? So anyway, lyrics. "Summertime and the living's easy. Bradley's on the microphone with Roz MG. All the people in the dance will agree that we're well qualified to represent the LBC. G, me and Louis, we're gonna run through the party, dance to the rhythm, it gets harder. And we can do it like this in the place to be. Me and my girl, we got this relationship. I love her so bad, but she treats me like shh. On lockdown like a penitentiary. She spreads her lovin' all over, and when she gets home, there's none left for me. Summertime and the living's easy. Bradley's on the microphone with Roz MG. All the people in the dance will agree that we're well qualified to represent the LBC. G, me and Louis, we're gonna run through the party, dance to the rhythm, it gets harder. And we can do it like this in the place to be. Oh, take this veil from off my eyes. My burning sun will someday rise. So what am I gonna do for a while? Said I'm gonna play with myself. Show them now we've come off the shelf. So what? Summertime and the living's easy. Bradley's on the microphone with Ross MG. All the people in the dance will agree that we're well qualified to represent the LBC. G, we and Louis run through the party, dance to the rhythm, it gets harder. And we can do it like this in the place to be. Evil. I come to tell you that she's evil, most definitely. Evil, ornery, scandalous, and evil, most definitely. The tension, it's getting harder. I'd like to hold her, head underwater. Me and my girl, we've got a relationship. Me and my girl, we got a relationship. My girl, we got a relationship. Oh, and my girl, yeah, got a relationship. Take a tip, take a tip, take a tip from me. Bradley's on the microphone with Ross MG. All the people in the dance will agree that we're well qualified to represent the LBC. Me, La Louis. Will everybody run to the rhythm? It gets harder. And we can do it like this in the place to be. Summertime and the living's easy. And we can do it like this in the place to be. A number of posthumous releases followed, among them Secondhand Smoke in 1997, and both Stand By Your Van and Sublime Acoustic Bradley, Noel, and Friends in 1998. Secondhand Smoke, produced by Michael Miguel Habolt, is described as an assemblage of leftovers, remixes, and rarities that hints at possible musical directions Sublime may have pursued if Noel had not died. By the release of their greatest hits compilation in 1999, the band had released as many albums after Noel's death as during his lifetime. Following Sublime's dissolution, former members Eric Wilson and Bud Goff founded the Long Beach Dub All-Stars in 1997, which also included many frequent Sublime contributors such as Habolt, former member of the Ziggins, Marshall Goodman, Roz MG, former Sublime member, and Todd Foreman, Third Alley. Long Beach Dub All-Stars disbanded in 2002, however, due to several members of the bands breaking their no-drug vow that they had taken when they started the band. Bud Goff joined the short-lived Eyes Adrift, a supergroup consisting of Bud on drums, Chris Novoselic of Nirvana on bass, and Kurt Kirkwood of the Meat Puppets on guitar and lead vocals. And on September 24th, 2002, Eyes Adrift released their only album, a self-titled LP consisting of 12 songs. They released one single from that CD entitled Alaska. I might bring some of them to the table now that you're aware of all of the bands that were part of it. We've done Meat Puppets. Now we've done Sublime. Might be worth checking that out. In 2005, No Doubt bassist Tony Kanal who had performed with the group, recollected on their career saying, "They made a sound that somehow fused rock, reggae, punk, and hip-hop in a way that was seamless and credible, bound together by the undeniable soul of Brad Noel's voice." He was joined by other members of the bands that had performed with Sublime, such as Pennywise, punk progenitor Mike Watt, Philadelphia neo bluesman G-Love, Hawaii beachcomber Jack Johnson, Latin rock eclecticists Ozo Motley, and progressive hip-hop figures Michael Franti and Gift of Gab on Look at All the Love We Found, a tribute to Sublime, to donate money to support artists with substance abuse problems. In 2009, surviving members of the band attempted to reform the band with Rome Ramirez, a young guitarist and avowed Sublime fan from California. However, not long after performing at Cypress Hill's Smokeout Festival, a Los Angeles judge banned the new lineup from using the Sublime name as they needed permission from Knowles' estate, which owns the rights to the Sublime name. This prompted the lineup of Wilson, Goff, and Ramirez to change their name to Sublime with Rome, which went on to release 3 albums, although Goff left the group shortly after the release of their 2011 debut, Yours Truly. On December 11th of 2023, Wilson and Goff reunited to perform with Jacob Noel as Sublime during their benefit show for Bad Brains vocalist HR at Tarragon Ballroom in Los Angeles. Jacob is Bradley's son. On January 16th, 2024, Sublime was revealed to be part of the lineup for the 2024 Coachella Festival, with Jacob Noel becoming the full-time member of the band. In a press release, the band also confirmed that they would be performing at additional music festivals that year. In May of 24, they reformed Sublime, released the single Feel Like That, featuring roots reggae group Stick Figure. Sublime with Rome disbanded at the end of 2024, and in 2025, Sublime announced that they were working on a new album with Travis Barker and John Feldman, the band's first studio album since their eponymous album in 1996. And on July 18th, the band released the song Ensenada, the first single from their upcoming 4th album. And there you have it. Kind of sucks for Rome Ramirez, who was doing the whole repurposed Sublime thing until the son who had the naming rights decided he wanted to be part of it. And hey, when you're Rome, you just kind of eat it on that one. You know what I mean? It's the son of the guy who you grew up and were inspired by, grew up listening to and were inspired by. So I understand that. It's just unfortunate turn of events for him, who was actually a really good temporary stand-in, if I'm being honest with you. But I'm really stoked that you like the song and all the different sort of the kaleidoscope of influences that would feed into this very original sound that they created.
But yeah, it definitely is a contender straight away.
Awesome. I'm glad you like it. In my mind's eye, I'm sitting here thinking of you going off and listening to this again, and it's bringing me smiles. So I will expedite the other tracks from this album that I would like to show you before I at least let you go check out 96's self-titled album. It's definitely worth giving a spin. There'll be some stuff you'll laugh at the juveniles or sophomoric nature of it, but there'll be other, and the music I think you'll really like, especially if you dug the fusion work that was going on here. So really, really stoked you like it, John. Thanks for giving this a go, buddy.
My pleasure.
Excellent. Well, guys, out there in the listening audience, please let us know what you thought of Doing Time by Sublime. This album, all of their other stuff. I mean, their greatest hits album is one of the best greatest hits albums I think I ever owned. Sublime isn't even one of my all-time favorite bands, but it is just, I mean, banger after banger after banger on that greatest hits album. So please give it other songs off this album or off maybe Robin the Hood or 40 Ounces to Freedom, a shout in the comments field below. We could add them to a future Friday episode as I trudge through the self-titled material with John here in the next couple months. But we'd love to hear from you guys. Also, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done any or all of those things. We really do appreciate it. And hopefully John and I will catch all y'all in growing numbers on the next episode of the Audiophiles. We'll see you later, guys.